Audacity challenge. Audacity does not contain a drum machine. Musescore challenge. Musescore does not contain extreme effects such as harsh EQs or epic reverb. Solution? Musecordacity, a custom work methodology whereby the limited powers of Musescore and Audacity are combined to become unlimited. So, let's get started. So, we're going to start off here in Musescore, and you will be surprised how old school music notation drops some pretty hard old school beats if you know what you're doing with your timing and your note choices. So, the key of the month, for those of you who have maybe heard this in another video, is when I'm generally composing pieces, I kind of go through the circle of fifths throughout the year, and in January, I try to compose pieces in C major and its relative natural minor, which is A minor, and then in February I like to compose in G major or its relative natural minor on all kinds of little projects and stuff, if I can, in G major and its relative natural minor of E minor. So we have, just on the piano in the room there, that's our scale that we're in. So that'll be a great key for this particular little work. So let's go in here to New, and we already have this. We're going to call this Audaciously Hard Beats. I'm going to call this Level 2. Okay, so let's come in here, click Next, and we're going to go through choosing our instruments. Okay, so the first thing that I want at the very top, since it's going to be doing a lot of our high pitches, is let's come on down here to strings, open that up. We're going to drop our violin in there. Now, if we decided later that we wanted to move the order of these in position on the page, we just come back to this screen or through here. In fact, let me show you, and we just tap on these up and down arrows. So the next thing I want is this kind of dramatic choral thing back there, and we're going to bring this in here. And let's say we wanted these in a different order. We just select that, move that one up. But this is exactly how I want this. Okay, and then of course we want to drop down low with some nice heavy basses. Let's use a plucked upright bass. Let's see. So they're going to call that the acoustic bass, of course, and we're going to add that. And now we're going to bring in 2 drum sets, and I'm going to explain why. We could try to fit everything on one and such. However, it's going to be really advantageous to have a couple different tracks you can play with here, and we want to think ahead that tracks are, in this program, we refer to them as staffs, you know, the old school way. So we're going to come up here and we're going to choose drum set, and we're going to add drum set. And you might say, Marcus, that's a little confusing. Well, there's 2 things we're going to do. Number one, up top here, I want this to be the hi-hat, since that's our that's up there high and everything. I'm just going to leave that as it is, and then we're going to come down here to this one. I want this on the very bottom so we look literally at the beat underwriting our work, and I'm just going to make this 3 lines. That'll be fine, and it's a unique type of staff for rhythms. So this looks good. Treble clef, 8 bass clef, 8 va bassa, which means it's going to head on down there and play an octave beneath what is actually written on the page. So very good. We got our 5 lines. That's where we're going to throw up our hi-hats, and we're going to change the names of these so that they're not confusing. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, and we talked about our key of the month being G major or E minor, so we're good there. 96. I want this one pretty slow and funky, so let's drop this in at, say, 72, okay? I'm going to come over here next. Definitely 4/4, and how many measures do we want to do? Let's do a nice 4-bar loop, okay? And we're going to come over here and finish this up. And nice, it just threw that little choral touch in there. I guess it was left over from a previous work. Very cool. It's letting us know we're headed in the right direction. So let's come up here, and if we wanted to change our tempo, we could just drop in here. But the first thing I want to get going, of course, since this is about audaciously hard beats level 2, let's jump in here with our drum beats. Okay, so down here, when we click on this, we're wondering, okay, what is going to be what? Well, in drum notation, they help us out a lot here. I'm going to click the letter N on the keyboard, and we get this whole cool drum kit relative to the notation thing. Okay, so I'm in note selection mode, and I know for sure I want boom, boom, smack. Boom smack. So you know what I'm going to do is the first thing is those first two boom booms in that sort of groove there. Those are going to be eighth notes. Okay, so I'm going to come up here. I got my eighth note selected, and it's going to show us right there. We have these two slight variations of the bass drum. I want this one to drop right here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this acoustic bass drum, and I'm going to drop it right there. And I tried to put it on the line, but it actually moves it into the perfect space there for you. I wanted you to see how that works. We're just going to come in here again, and this is going to give us our, see, I'm going to go for the line. There you go. And it drops us into what we want for the sound. So we got boom, boom, smack. So we're going to come in here now, and I want a snare drum to pop in on this guy right here. So we're going to come over and drop this guy here, and I want this to happen. Boom, boom, smack. So let's drop this in at, so let's come in here and drop this in, and we're going to go, actually we need a rest there, so we're going to come in here, drop this there, there we go. I put above our bass drum, we need a rest to move us over into this, and I'm going to go over to here now, get rid of the rest, and just drop a nice quarter note. There we go. So let's take a listen there. Okay, boom, boom, smack, boom, smack. So I want this to be kind of like I want a rest here of a quarter note there. So we're going to come over to here, and we're going to go, we want a dotted, let's see, I'm going to change this to a dot notation. So I'm going to click that there, and then when we bring in our bass drum, we'll come in again, and I'm going to click the, actually that gave us a repeat there. I pressed the letter R. Instead we're going to click the letter N, and boom, boom, smack, boom, smack. So we can just drop in with a quarter note, and it'll adjust our, so this is our reminder of what's going to happen there. So let's take a listen. Okay, so I want a little more space there. It kind of ate up our groove there a little bit. So let's come down to this guy, and we have this highlighted. I want this to go. Actually, let's go here. Let's see. Let's come in here. Boom, boom, smack. Boom. There we go. We got our move going. Okay, and now right here I want our notation of our bass drum to drop right on that guy, and that should be good, the rest of that. So now we have what we want. Cool. And we're going to drop on this puppy here. I want this just to come in at a quarter note. There we go. So we just made our change there with what we wanted highlighted, and we're going to come over here, and I want this, I'm going to press the letter N, and I want this snare drum right here, you know, so it's just reminding us of what we have there, and we just come in there and drop that right where we want it. Okay, cool. So to keep this as focused as possible in this tutorial, I could make some variations on that, but let's keep this, as we say, hard. Now you'll notice I selected this whole measure here by clicking out in this area. And you know what? In some programs you have to copy and paste sections. What's really cool in here is anything you have selected, if you press, like I did earlier, the letter R, we get an exact repeat, an exact repeat, an exact repeat. And for this style of music, repetition stuff is very cool. That's a part of the game. There's even repetition in the great works of the great composers. So now I think for sure we know that we need some hi-hats, right? So let's come in here. I'm going to press the letter N, get into notation mode, and we're going to select our, I know I want 1 and 2, and come in on those eighth notes there like that. So, and I think that our right here, there we go. Actually, This will be fine right here. So this is what we want there, and it shows us that we want to put this guy right there. All right, and this is a great thing. See how this is selected, like we were talking about. Now I'm gonna exit note mode just so we can see what we're doing without the notes flying around. See how this is blue and selected, and it would be a lot easier to see. There we go. If we pump this up right there by doing Control plus, and you can also grab that from a menu up there. So we're coming in here to the drum set, and I have this selected because it's blue, and then I'm just going to get funky and drop these nice repeats here. So there we go. Let me just get this active again. There we go. Okay, so we got it blue and active, and then I'm going to come over here. Now I want something different to happen right here. And so even though our bottom end down here is just going boom, boom, smack, boom, smack, and it's keeping that, I want a little variation in this guy over here. So I'm going to come over to here, drop this, but then I'm going to change it to this 16th note. There we go. And then I'm going to do a little repeat there. And now I'm going to switch back to 8th notes. And I'm just hitting the letter R once I have my note selection that I desire. So let me back out of this for a second, see what we're working with a little bit. Pressing the letter N to release from our note. You can also press escape. Let's come back here. Okay, cool. So you saw we repeated one measure by grabbing, the measure we wanted and then pressing the letter R, and it just repeated those. But we could do that here. However, what I want is I still want this 2-bar set to function as kind of its own repeating unit. So I'm going to come over here, got what I want selected, pressing R, ba-bam, we got that repeat happening there over 2 bars as to where it was happening over only 1 bar there, okay? So now we're going to come in here to our acoustic bass, and I want boom, 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 something like that. Okay, so we're going to drop in right there on that E because we're in E minor, so we know we want the root on there, definitely. So let's come in here. I'm going to press N for note entry, and I know that first one, okay, cool little music theory for those of you coming over from drum machines for the first time and everything. Drum machines are really cool, but when you want syncopation, boom, 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 boom. So if I got this sort of beat going in the background, if you don't see any dots show up, you're going to get stuff that's like boom, 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 boom. You're going to get some straight stuff. But when you throw that little dot on there, this dot notation up here, that's where you get into that afterbeat. So you're going to have something like, you're going to have something like one and boom, 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 boom. A little syncopation on there because you're going to see some dots shift that whole thing out of the straightforward path there. A little funk on there. Okay, so let's come in here and let's drop this E, and it looks like we have, there we go, quarter note, dotted quarter note. We're going to come in here. There we go. And I'm just going to drop this next one. See, once we got this beat offset with that little dot there, now literally anything after is going to have this cool, like, after the groove syncopation. So we can come in here straight on this one, no dot. And actually, I want to make sure we back this guy up. There we go. So I want this to drop right there. There we go. Just show you how to clean that up because that'll happen when you're entering notes and everything. So boom, boom, boom. So thinking about just to break this down for those you can't quite picture those numbers in there. And you know what? On any given day, who knows, man? I've been working on something for hours. I'm like, okay, where are we at with the ands and such? So it kind of goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3, and now I want N4. Just to come in again because we're out of that little pocket there. So I'm just going to drop it right on that since we got that and I don't want to confuse it. Then I'm going to use the arrows to take me up to a B. There we go. A B on the bass clef, remember, is in a different spot than up here. So I want to drop that there. And then this one, we see we only have, I like how it finishes out the timing to let us know we only have this 8th note beat to work with here. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to press, let's see, the number 4, and I get this, and I want this to drop right in that third of the minor. So I'm going to come in there with that G. There we go. Let's take a listen to this. This is pretty cool. There we go. Okay, I was thinking I wanted this a little more staggered, but I like the sound of this better. So let's go over here, and now I want very close to the same thing. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this trick. Okay, we're going to use repeat again using the letter R, but we're going to make a few little modifications to some of what we move over. Okay, so now we have this, and I want, let's see, I want those first two locking down right where they're at, but I want something a little funkier to happen here. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose note entry, and then I'm going to choose an eighth note and give us a little dot there. And we're going to come over here, and I'm going to drop this right. You know where I want this is I'm going to drop it right here for a second, but I actually want it to head on up there to an E, an octave above. There we go. We got our E an octave above. And then I'm going to come over here, and I want the exact same thing because I want this nice double stagger here. We're going to drop this right on that. There we go. And it got rid of what we didn't need. It knew where we were going with that. Okay, so now let's check out our whole groove here. There we go. I wanted that little stagger. Okay, good. So we got this nice stagger out of that dotted notation there, folks. Drum machines are cool, but don't don't be all afraid of this. It's just about knowing what's up. And plus, it's kind of, I like how it's cleaner looking. And I mean, man, you can't. I've always thought this is the most beautiful geometric art there is. You know what I'm saying? So I got this selected here, and reading tons of classic, English lit on a regular basis. But as soon as I start working with this material, next thing you know what I'm saying? It starts showing up. It's awesome. Okay, so I'm right here, and I'm gonna click that R again, and I'm gonna come in here, Control minus to see a nice big screen view there of everything going on. Pressing Escape to make this blue get out of there because we don't want to accidentally make any changes. Okay, I really like that staggered beat on the end. Boom, boom, coming out there on these dotted eighth notes. All right, very nice. Okay, so now the next thing I want a choral. In fact, we're going to change the word on this, okay? And I want you to learn how that we can do that. Give us a Control S, so since we put some work in there. Audaciously hard beats at level 2. So we put some work in there. Got to get a save going. Let's come up here, and now I want to change some of these words here, whatever, so they're a little bit easier to understand. So we come over here to Edit Instruments, and our order of these looks just fine. So instead, what I want to do is we're going to come in here, and we can click anywhere on this staff, and I'm going to do with, actually, let's come out here. There we go. So clicking out there in this area, and we have measure properties, but we want the entire staff to be affected all the way across through the tune. So we're going to go click on this, and the first thing that we want here is we want our acoustic bass. Actually, that's looking good. So that's how we come into this. We're going to come in here and choose staff properties, and our part name, this is just hi-hats now, so we're just going to go hi-hat, okay? And we're going to come down here, I'm pressing tab, of course, and we're going to go high. We're going to go, let's see what's up there. There we go. Actually, this is our instrument. Let's leave this right the same. We don't want to change our instrument on us, okay? So we want to affect this name here, hi-hat. And we're going to come over here to H8. Yeah, we don't want to change our instrument. We'll come back in there with some wild, different sound going, oh, what happened to our hi-hats? So, okay, so be sure you don't change that. Okay, so part name is hi-hat. Long instrument name that you're going to see over here is going to say a hi-hat. And then if we had pages and it continued on, every time in front of this staff you'd get a hi-hat like that. So let's click apply, and we see it make that positive change, and we're good. Okay, so now let's come out to here, and let's do staff properties again. We're going to come over here, and remember, we want to leave the instrument alone, but we want part name to come out here, and we're going to say, should we call this drum set? I was going to say bass and snare, Let's go for that. So I could say bass and snare, and come over here and go bass and snare, and we could see it make that change. But you know what? I like that one word convention. So we're going to come over here and we're going to just leave this drum set as it was. I just wanted you to see how we could do that. Drum set. And there we go. Going to click apply and we're back right there. So we know our set is our bass drum and our snare. Okay, so we're looking good there. Now these two we can differentiate, you know, when we come back into this after we've done other things, you know, and such. And we're like, what did we have set up where and such? We can take a quick look. You can also kind of tell by looking at it, but just in case this was a little, what if this was all over the place and this was all over the place? You really want to know what you're dealing with here. So in a desktop audio workstation, sometimes you see that referred to as DAW, you know, of course you have these different tracks. So over here you would want to name your staffs kind of, you know, along using some of those same conventions of clearly knowing, you know, this is one track, this is another, and such. So now I want this, when the beat comes in, I want on the two, I want this choral minor chord to just smack right on the two. I'm going to come in there like that with a nice spread on our E minor. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to press the letter N. You're probably getting real used to it. Oh boy, I sure remember now how to go into note entry mode, but we're just going to keep that going. So looks like we're set up on quarter note beats. That's good. I want to press this rest and drop a rest so that we move and drop the choir right on the two. So we're going to go 2, 3. I think let's have it hang out for 2 beats, and we're gonna come in right here like this. That's our root, our third, and our fifth there, and then we'll see what happens. Let's take a listen. So we're mixing, you know, visual and audible here. Very cool. Let's try that. Okay, so and we're gonna just leave that rest over. So let's back this up. Okay. So I think, okay, let's go ahead and stick with that. Okay, so and now I want to come over to our second measure here, and so we can come back and do it. We have the bass down there. Okay, I just had a great idea. Okay, so I was thinking something like this. But I'm going to go chromatic on you, and that's a cool term. So in the scale, our Fs are generally going to be sharped. I'm just banging out on the piano here in the room. Now, the thing, though, is I'm going, what if we went for a little surprise? We had this, and then we, instead of going to this C over an E, instead we just shift the whole thing. It's going to get pretty cool, a little more mysterious. You know? So it's going. And what's great is we're going to have our main, you're going to hear that minor scale working in the other, so they have this neat little work against. So it's got half of what we want, and this one thing is stepping out of the scale for a moment. So we're going to come in here, and let's go ahead, note entry, and rest. Drop that rest there, and so we're going to need a short one. Bum, bum. So we want kind of like this eighth note here. We're going to come in, drop this E, and this is that E minor, the same E minor chord, but then we're going to do this shift, and I want it to go pretty much for the rest of the measure. I'm just going to have maybe a little rest on the tail end there. So let's go for some half notes here, and we're going to drop this in. Okay, now that's going in. When I enter this, it follows the rules of the scale. So you know what we need to do. That means it's coming in on a sharp. I'm going to press the, let me get this out of the way. Our note there is highlighted blue. I want you to see this. I'm going to press the down arrow. There we go. The down arrow, just flip this into, and we thought we needed some extra room, so it shot the second section of the thing. Oh, and it did what we did want with the abbreviations. Good, so you get a chance to see that. So it shifted our in scale of the sharp down to a natural. That's what that sign is for those who are new to music theory, coming over from just pure drum machines. Okay, so now we have this C on top like I wanted from the C over the E, but we shifted this whole thing, so it's going to sound pretty funky, and it's going to be pretty cool. So let's check this out. Back it all the way up. All right, cool, pretty nice. All right, so let's come in here, and I'm going to select these two guys here, and you know our cool magic trick there is if we have a section that, whether it's one note or one bar or 3 bars or 2, I want these 2 to just basically repeat exactly for this style of music. That'll be fine. Okay, so let's come back here. And listen to a 4-bar bass. Okay, so for that's looking good. Let's hit escape and come out of that. Now, of course, we need some of those. We need some strings. Like we want them way up there. Okay, we're gonna play with the levels in both this program and Audacity. Okay, let's take a look here, and we're gonna come over here, and let's just save here to come in here. So we want pretty much. I just want the one. So let's come in on the root, but it's gonna be way up there. So we're gonna have like a. And I think we should have like, so we're gonna go dotted half note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then let's actually flip them around. So we're gonna go dotted half note, quarter note for 1, and then we're gonna go. So we went 3, 1, and now we're gonna go 1, 3. Okay, just a nice little answer back there, call and answer music idea there. So let's come in here. Oh, let's enter note entry mode. Bam, bam. Come in here, ring this out high. Mr. Itzhak Perlman, drop it, bro. Okay, cool. Thank you. And let's come in here to we're gonna drop our quarter note here, and then we're gonna do. We were saying we're gonna do a reverse. So just want to walk it down, and let's see if we have a. Let's drop this on the 1 again, but now we're an octave lower. Okay, got a sweet idea. Let's see. Let's see. Should we go that far? Let's check this out. Okay, so we're gonna go old school back to Baroque to flip this next section out. So I got our segment that I generally want repeated, but we're gonna make a little variation. So I have this, I'm pressing the letter R for repeat, and there we go, and we got our section there. Let's really, you're gonna trip off this for those of you who aren't familiar with the trill. So I selected our note, and again, let's blow this up now. I want you to see this, going back and forth so that we have full view and zoom, and that's Control plus again. You're gonna have all these keyboard shortcuts memorized by my repetition there. So let's come up here, and we want articulations and ornaments. Okay, so I'm gonna select trill. Now there's two ways I can do this. I can either drag this over there, or I can just double click it because I had that note selected. So let's hear what it did. Okay, it kind of could be cool. I wonder if it's a bit much. Let's see. We could use. Let's try a few of these other articulations. I'm going to delete that one. It's a cool way to learn what some of these are too for you. So we're going to come in here. This one might be cool. The modern. So let's check this out. Let's see what we have. That's kind of closer to what I was thinking. In fact, let me back this out now so we can see. Not that far. There we go. That's good. Okay, so I like this, but I have a feeling that the mordant there is going to be, So let's select our note, and let's come in here with this and hear what we got. There we go. So remember, see, like a lot of your, if hip hop from back in the day, they were sampling records, like a lot of them were from the 70s and such, and maybe sometimes even earlier. And remember, a lot of the session cats were using this stuff, So this is actually the secret to some of that, some of the funk that you have, because most session players, like the thing that when I used to do session work when I was a kid and everything, almost everything was on, like the big thing was like either lead sheets, and sometimes you had to play off someone's recording and stuff like that. But I got better and better at that as over the years, and I know when I was a kid, I wanted to I was like, oh, I want to get better with sheet music, but I had so many gigs come in that were not about that. And then as I grew older, I started finding myself, here's a lead sheet plunked down in front of me, and we started working with that. So this is not a lead sheet. This is, we have literally every single note scripted out. This is full notation. So we threw in our mordent there, and if we want to take a look at that, articulations and ornamentations. There's all kinds of interesting things we could put. We got down bow and down bow direction, all that stuff like that. We could put all these interesting things on different things. You know, so we could have a lot of fun with that. Let's keep this. I want this really obvious though, so because we're going to be taking this over into Audacity, and I want you to have this nice visual of where we were. So this looks pretty. I think we're pretty much there for Musescore. Really came through there. So let's take a listen. Okay, nice, very good. Now it looks like we have some sort of basic, pleasant, nice reverb happening. And let's take a look at our mixer to see what's going on, okay? So let's see. I think I would like, you'll notice here, I wanted to bring this up in case you see this and go, what's going on with this? The violin has stored in it for these different articulations, pizzicato and tremolo, and we could actually select that and drop it. So that would mean that the notes that I'm just putting on the screen are going to get this standard arco, that sort of thing like that. And if I actually went in there and put the signification for pizzicato, you might have to make another parameter setting, but you'll end up with blink, end up with a nice finger pluck, okay? And then tremolo, of course, is where they're just firing back and forth over the string. And you can do that. Maybe we'll do that in a future video, but that's going to enter in a whole new dimension of the tutorial for right now. So we have all of our instruments laid out here. Let's take, I think for sure, I want our violin really creeping around in the background there because I have an idea where we're going with the effects on this. Remember, we're going to get into some hard, rough, extreme effects in Audacity. So coming over here and not subtle enough. I want that thing way back there. So let's see. Let's just check it out at about 50%. I like to go to the big numbers first. There we go. I love that mordant, man. Okay, so in fact, I think I'm going to bring this out. I like our level here, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to mix both the mixer affecting volume, and I'm also going to come over here to dynamics, and let's see if we can bring. I just love this so much. I want to pump that thing up. So I dropped a double forte, which means very strong, and let's take a listen from here to here, just to be time efficient. Okay, cool. And then it's going to keep the forte for the rest of the thing unless I get back to where we were approximately. I might even have it kind of come down a little bit. So let's go here. There we go. So we're going to get a very strong and then to soft. Okay, so let's take a listen. And of course we need to back all the way up. So that's just our mixer at 50%. There we go. Alright, so it did it, but this is too far. Let me just select piano and press delete. That was too far. F. How about mezzo forte? That's probably right. So that means medium strong. Okay, we'll drop that in right there, and it sets it up for us. Let's take a listen to just these two, or these three. Here we go. There we go. Nice. Okay, cool. So the mordant jumped out in the face there, so to say, and now we have this. Let's press escape and get out of this. Scroll up, do a save. Looking pretty good here. And these effects here, they are really nice. They're so logical for a notation program, absolutely. But they're not extreme, and we can't go into engineering territory with them. We can just add reverb, and I'll let you hear this. I'm going to crank this reverb up through the roof here, So let's take a listen. Okay, cool. So we see it's very tame, and that's totally fine for this program. I want the voice too. The voice is a bit. We need that dropped back a little bit. So here we go, voice, and I might change the name of that. I like that where it just shows the actual exact MIDI sound there. Let's go to, let's see, maybe somewhere in the 60, 70 ballpark. Let's take a listen. Maybe even a little less. Go back to our mixer. F10 could get us there as well. Let me make it just a little bit past 50%. Just a little bit past. Okay, so let's come back there. There we go. Nice. Okay, so I like our levels a lot, and we're gonna do a Control S there, and we're looking good. I like what we have. Our 4 bars. We've done sound-wise what we can do here. Most important, we have these beautiful performance and articulation set in, and some general directions of dynamics and good instrument sounds. Now let's export. Okay, so we're going to come in here. We're in the Musescores area there, but I want to go to where this tutorial is, and we're going to go to right over here, Audaciously Hard Beats Level 2. Going to create this wave here and press save. Okay, so now we are in phase 2 of our tutorial, the territory of Audacity. So let's bring in the sound file that we just exported from Musescore. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm actually going to use the keyboard shortcut this time. Control, Shift, letter I, opens up, and here we go. We're in the right folder. There's the file we just exported, the WAV file. Great. Okay, and since we're going to be playing around with some pretty complex EQs and such like that, let's go ahead and save a project file just in case that we have this program open in the background and the thing's recording a tutorial, and we have our notation that was just using the sound engine. Just be on the safe side. Let's go over here, save project as, and it lets us know that it's an actual project file. Looks like we're in the right folder, and looking good. Okay, save. And a general methodology that we've talked about many times, duplicate. And let's mute our original so that we know what we're working with. Okay, so we promised some extreme effects, okay? We're really going to get in here and just really drag this over the railroad track so it has this really rough sound and everything. Very surprising from such pristine and clean sounds that are, let me protect our ears there a little bit. Boom, boom, just in case we open that one back up. So, really, really nice sounds, but really, really clean. And sometimes we love this. One of the things people got into sampling is because you remember, like, you combine all these different samples. You have something that was recorded with one set of microphones and one tape machine somewhere, and another set of microphones, and someone else has this funny contact on their guitar that's kind of, has a little bit of a short in it, and you collect all these interesting things. You end up with these really interesting sound artifacts. So. And immediately, let's create 2 of these, because what's going to happen is I want like this over-the-top, just giant swelling bass thing over here. And I almost want a lot of the other tracks to disappear. And then we're going to go into the mids and highs and really, really take them to extreme territory. Let's mute this for a second. Let's start with our low frequencies. Okay, so kept our reduced volume. Good, good, good. Let's come over here, and there's a few different ways we could do this. Number 1, we could go in here to bass and treble, and we see that we don't really have, we have our 0, 0 settings in. What happens if we went, let's go just way out here with bass, about 50% of what's left, say at the top. That's not bad, but it's a little too clean and straightforward sounding. So let's cancel out of that, and let's go into our equalization. So we have here, and sometimes this comes up, it says graphic like this, and we see this fancy drawn stuff, and what is all this? Some people, might not understand all of this frequency spectrum. In fact, I'm definitely more on the singer, composer, musician side, so I understand some parts of it, but not like on an engineering, level, like a professional engineer or something like that. So, I can mix tracks when they're kind of well thought out from the get-go and everything, but this I can't tell you exactly what this point is going to do. I do know some generals though, and this area here is going to be our this is going to be a lot of your lows. This here will be your mids, and this here will be your highs, like really high end and such. So, and sometimes that's all you need to know. And in fact, what we have here that's great is we have some predetermined curves in here, EQ curves. But let's actually show you what graphic really means. Bam! just to get a screen redraw out of that, I went over here, and came back to graphics so that it redraws the screen and we can actually see our faders here, our sliders and such. Okay, so this is looking pretty decent here, but definitely I don't want this curve that I'm seeing here. I want a bass boost. Okay, let's take a preview. Wow, it definitely boosted the bass. I really like that. So we're going to run with that. I just love that exactly the way that is. And let's back off the volume just a smidge there. Okay, good. So definitely got our... Okay, so this is looking good. Just doing a Control S there, backup save. We're going to come out here and now, so if we left these tracks alone and played two tracks that were exactly the same, they would do this kind of horrible, annoying, squashed, thin phasing. Not like a cool special effects phasing either. It would just be like this, tightened up phasing, and they start canceling each other out and stuff. But we just completely changed. Look how different the waveform is. I mean, our peaks and valleys are similar, but this is definitely an entirely new drawing. And so this means that we can now start having duplicates of the same track, but which have been heavily EQ'd and affected, and they won't phase each other out. You'll literally have multiple sounds going. It's a very cool thing. So let's go here and let's mute this guy out. We're going to come down here, and this one I want grainy running over the railroad, rusty cool grooves there and everything. So we're going to come in here and go to our equalization, and we're going to go select curve. Okay, so there's a lot of interesting ones here. I'm thinking that we should choose, let's actually hear just a couple. So AM radio is probably going to do something in the right direction, but maybe not as extreme as we're looking for this. It's actually a good direction. We can actually apply these in multiple levels, like do one of one and one to the other. But for right now, I think the one I remember as really having this is the telephone thing. So we just come down here to telephone. There we go. So this one takes our bass out of the picture because we have so much of that in the other one, but we really went in there and isolated the bass, and we're going to come out here and check this out. Okay, so let's pull this back here and let's hear them. Actually, let's hear this isolated for just one moment. That's what I was originally envisioning, so we're going to add these both together, and here we go. Okay, cool, getting there. This I want even more extreme, so we're going to go over here to our equalization, and we're going to choose treble cut, because I literally want to wipe out the highs from this thing pretty much. So okay, so we must have some somewhere around here. The violin wants to live somewhere around here. There we go. So we got our main curve by the preset. I strongly recommend that. And then we made a little adjustment to eat away at some of the violin there. Now we can do some really interesting things, like just slightly moving this one to the right, this one to the left, and okay, I like it. I've decided though our snare drum, I want the 2K, the mids of that snare to just really slap out there. So you know what I'm going to do? So I'm going to go back to our original and I'm going to do a duplicate. But I want this moved right here just so that we're thinking in those conventions of bass snare. And this is good for right now. Let's come out here and let's unmute this. I want our 2K here, so I'm just going to solo this for right now. And we're going to come up here to Effect, and we're going to do Equalization again. And I want 2K, so let's go in here and let's see. Actually, let's flatten the whole thing out. There we go, a little preview. That's just exact as it is. And now this 2K right here, 2.5K, I want this to come in here and give us our actual, there we go, I have to be able to in the drawing mode, so there we go. So now I got this here, but you know what, I don't want the whole thing to go up like that. I want this to come down here and go about where it was. In fact, we might, let's actually get a little bit crazy here. So, because I want this 2K to just, just smack right there. Okay, so, and this is how you do that. Like once you get familiar with sound. So again, so let me give you another around here, around here. Around here. So pretty funny, but that actually would probably be pretty easy to remember, and that will help out with a lot of those. Let's check this out now. Okay, not nearly extreme enough. In fact, let me give you another. There we go. Just a little more room there. I might widen this out a little bit. I think I have this a little too precise there. I want some, just somewhere around there for right now. So. Okay, so we're getting in some ideal territory. I love what it did to the violin there too. Okay, so this is good. This is good. Now, this is one of the cool things of knowing what's going on with our track by the rhythm. Let's pop back over in here into Musescore, and I think we were saying the tempo is 72. So I want to really get going on this snare. So first off, let me see what we're working with. Fit vertically. There we go. And this is our snare. Let's actually get a work on the name here. There we go. So we're going to call this 2K snare pump. Okay. So we're going to go up here, work on our name. Bass boost. Okay. And we're going to come down here. And what are we calling this one? This is like, let's get out of solo there for a second. I think we're calling this, what effect did we put on this? It was it radio? No, it was telephone EQ. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do a Control S to get that out there. And let's get our tempo over into here. So I'm going to create a add new tracks, add new, come out here somewhere, bam, generate, click track. Was it 72? Yes, 72. Let's go here, ba-bam, there we go. So now we got something to work here, and let's just get rid of this. We don't need all this. In fact, let's actually snap this, okay? There we go. Delete, and fit that direction. Fit vertically, Control Shift F, Control Shift F. Okay, so here we come, and okay, cool. So now we're really getting into some stuff here. I'm going to come in here, and so this is our 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And this again would be our 1 right here. So I want this to just snap out there. I'm going to come in right. Actually, let's create our let's come out here and go add label at selection. Okay, so it dropped in a nice control track for us, and let's come over here. Okay, we'll show you how we're going to use that in just a second. Now the first thing that we want to do is I'm going to go in on this track and actually go to our envelope tool. Okay, boy, if you've seen this one video, we know where this is at. So this is our 2 and our 4. I want to come out here, and I'm going to go drop this in and drop this in here. Okay, and remember, this is just a loop, so we can get this wild on here. Let's come out here, just pop this out of the way here, and okay, so I'm going to come in here and isolate this. There we go. So now we have this pretty much kind of just appearing there. In fact, check this out. So we have this actually, we just need a little more room there. So we get a tail. Let's close this completely out over here. So, okay, and I want this to be louder. Okay. Now, it leaves us a little bit of our string residue in there, but because we like the idea of the sample thing, that's actually going to work with us, and we can play with pitches if we need to. We're going surgical on this, all right? So, and remember, we got so many EQs going, we can just go back to our original and pop out another one here. So what we're going to do is I want this to be, in fact, I went for the 4 there. We're going to make a little addition to this. We're going to come in here. Let me get out of the envelope tool mode there and go back to our selection tool. Let's come in. We want this on the right there on the 3, believe it or not, because we're just going to have this kind of do a little loop. And now we're going to do add label at selection. Very good. And we're going to come in here, and I'm going to wipe out everything else up to there. Okay, so let's just go, whoops, accidentally. Bring that in there. There we go. Okay, so get that nice and even there. And selection tool is good. And here we go. So let's come out here. Solo. We are not getting our highlight. Okay, because we have the two. Okay, so let's drop this about right here. There we go. So we're not getting our highlight because it wanted to do that. So let's come out here to boom. There we go. And just because of the way it's interacting with the envelope tool there. And there we go. Got our snap there. And we are going to get rid of this. Let's do got a slice section in there, and I think we want to shoot the slice, the split out to another section. So let's come in here, and we want to we want to split this, but we want to split cut. Yes, that's right, split cut. Okay, so but we didn't want it to affect that. Let's click undo. We just want to split cut right there, and we're going to come down here to split cut, but I want to go to a new track. There we go. Okay, so now we have just this to work with. There we go. Let's take a listen. Okay, we're getting more into what we want there. Went surgical on that beat there. And now let's fit everything. We're going to call this, I want this to be mixed and rendered there. There we go. Cool. I just wanted to get rid of our envelopes and everything there. And let's come out here. Mute. We have a mute there. We don't need one there. So we got some big low end stuff. Now I'm going to come out here, and this is what we were going to use this for. Okay. So now that we have that little snare EQ extreme there removed, you see how this snapped just right to that 1 to the 3 beat there. What do you see what we do with this? We're going to go here, and I'm going to press delete. That's right. Sometimes we don't want to delete. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to give us just complete silence there. Control L to silence that out. I'm going to come here, and let's go, because we thought carefully about taking this section, now we have an EQ block to move around. So let me go here, and let's just make sure we got all the way to that with that. Good. Yes, okay, good. Let's come over here, and we are going to do, let's look at, who knows, we can cut what we don't need. So we're just going to come over here to repeat, and this will only work because we thought very carefully about our timing. And let's go, I don't know, let's try 8 for a second. Okay, so check this out. Cool. So pretty awesome. Okay, so let's come back in here. This last one here is hanging out here, and we don't need that. And the reason those drop on the beats like that is, again, we used our label track, and we were adding this. We were using the snap of the label track to fall in with our pre-chosen tempo. Okay, so and now I think for sure I want to get this running through some cool reverb. So let's come up here and do an effect, and we're going to go to reverb. Just really check this out. I think that we want, let's see, I want these at this time at 50. We've seen this all the way maxed out. Let's just go here and go 0 0. Okay, so ha ha ha. Okay, cool. And I love how it kept that. It has a. We didn't get in there and soften it out with dampening or anything like that, so it has that old spring reverb thing going. I need to remind you, this began in Musescore, because I know what you're hearing now. You're like, I mean, we're in a territory now. This sounds like this was done with like 3 or 4 turntables, different brands, special old wires running through, distortion. Okay, so nope, this began in the super clean, classically oriented Musescore. Full notation. This is where our origins began with this project, and now as we enter this zone, this is where the funk is at now. Let's see. Let's check this out. Let's see. So I could say something about nations and sensations. So let's check this out. Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore Audacity combined to make sensations unlimited. Okay, so cool. Flying in a little rap there, and it seems to work. I wonder. Let me do a Control S. Should we record that? What the heck? Let's give it a shot, because in those EQ effects there, I was like, there was this one I saw. I said, I want to run what you just heard running through that mic. So let me check out the time on this. And Audacity combined to make sensation. Okay, checking my rhythm there, So definitely want to see we're using. And by the way, in poetic terms, we are using enjambment from the first line to the second. So the first line is this. I got a little scribbled out a little rest, a little eighth note rest there. Kind of looks like an angel with one wing there, and it goes rest. Sound school and folks in all the nations, but I don't have a comma after that first line, and this is a fancy term called enjambment. And then we come. So that means I want to drop, and then I just have the word fast circled there before I drop to my next one. So we got sound school and folks in all the nations, Musescore and Audacity combined to make sensations. So you can use that, believe it or not, even when you're writing out your little raps and stuff, using stuff from the world of English literature and poetry. That lets me know that if I'm going to get that result every time, I drop with enjambment, no comma after that first line. Didn't think you could combine those worlds either. Well, Shakespeare was a rapper, trust me. Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besmeared with sluttish time. That's actually the 50th song. I can do the whole thing and a whole bunch of other stuff from him. But anyways, what I mean. Don't let folks fool you. All kinds of skilled people out there, all over the place, all kinds of different colors and from different parts of the world and everything like that. So awesome. Okay, so we're going to use a little enjambment in our rap here. So the first thing we're going to do, we start recording. We got 2 programs open plus the thing recording the tutorial and everything. So and I don't have like the world's most super powered computer. It's really awesome. Very thankful for what I have and everything. But you know what I mean. So we're gonna make sure we got that saved. We're gonna come over here, and I think I'm gonna let it drop for. Let's see. Let me come in on the second. So let's see what we got here. Let it run once, okay? And we can always repeat this if we needed to. Yes, that's not a bad idea. Here we go. Sound schooling, folks in all the nations, Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations unlimited. Okay, cool. So now we got this, and we're gonna bring this back. let's see. I know we got this. So let's just go here. I'm just get rid of our junk. Control L to silence that out. And this is going to sound really kind of straightforward here for a second. Let's just pull out here to our rap.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, so let's pretend, just for ease of time in the tutorial. So it looks like this starts right on the nub of that, of our nice little. Now we got all these cool subtracted beats here from this. This is great. So we're gonna come in here to the time shift tool and bring this right to the beginning. And if it's not perfect, we can move it again.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations.
Little bit late. So we're going to come in and first get us out of that.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations.
Okay, cool. So just a little nudge there. There we go. So that's probably good.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations.
Okay, cool. I liked it where it was. So let's go back here, just undoing. There we go. So we're out there with that. And what I really want to do is I really want to repeat this music up here. We need to make some cuts in order to do that. Okay, so shrink all of this up. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's do it. Okay, so let's come in here and we want to drop this right on the, and fortunately this only works because we got our snap. You know what I mean? There we go. There's our snap. So we're going to start getting rid of stuff. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to come out, click track, get rid of this, and this we're going to keep right there. We're going to come out and get rid of this. There we go, and it's snapping. Oh, this one, just make sure that it snaps in there. There we go. Get rid of this. Okay, and looks like everything I want to repeat is going to. I don't think it's going to do all these at the same time, but maybe we'll get lucky. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Effect. Repeat. Once. Okay. Nice. Haha. 3 tracks at once. Nicely done, Audacity. So let's hear where our connection point meets. It's about right here. About right there. There we go. So.
Make sensations. Unlimited. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. So we could get in there with a click track and get that absolutely. It's pretty clean though. It's pretty clean. So let's go here, and I just want more time there. So we're gonna go bam, and we're gonna come up here to fit vertically. There we go. And this way our unlimited rings off with some music after it. So.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited. Okay,
cool. Okay, so, and remember, we started in the world of ultra clean music notation. Let me just actually back this up. We don't need any of that after. Control L to wipe that out to perfect silence. And now we got to get this in line with what's going on this track, y'all. So I'm going to do Control S. Got us a save there, and we're going to come up here, and wow, there's all kinds of cool stuff we could do. But let's go out here to, let's stay with the mode of equalization, and I want to hear this walkie-talkie on this. Let's get to our point in the track where it's doing it though. Let's come out here. In fact, we got to take that and jump that out, but I am thinking about the length of the tutorial for you. So let's come out here and let's go to equalize now that we have exactly what we want to look at. Selected, walkie-talkie, preview.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations.
Okay, cool. Not bad.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations.
Okay, so, will it be telephone again?
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations.
No, a little too thin.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations.
Okay, pretty rough, pretty big. What if we cut, let's cut the bass from it.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations.
Okay, so I like this, but you know what? Following my own rule, let's do a duplicate just before we start playing around with it. And let's come down here. I'm going to mute this. And let's come up to here. There we go. So now we have this. In fact, we might want to keep some of our original and do like a mix, like a split mix. I want this one really. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to come into our EQ, get a general first, and then we're going to do some drawing. Okay, so we're going to go, I think we were saying, oh, that's right. We want to get this second one selected here. Equalization, and we are going to go with our, let's go back to our telephone. Is it? No, AM radio, okay.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nation.
Okay, and then I'm going to pump. Now that we have our general set, I'm also going to come in here and I want to get between our, I want this to go up there, okay? So just grab it some highs there, something like that. And then I want one spot over here to get a little bit boom, 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 okay?
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensation.
So it's really, you hear it's just screaming out that 3K there. So I want a lot of that though. I want it kind of like surprising, okay? So protect our ears a little bit here and see what we're working with. There we go.
And Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, cool. Good, 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 good. Let's take this real quick, do a duplicate, and we're going to come out here and bring up our cool math tip that we talked about. Now, we got 72, so we need to find out what we're dealing with here in terms of our device. So we're going to go down here to calculator and bring out this calculator here. So we got 72, but we know we always check out our milliseconds and such by 60,000 divided by 72, and we have 833 point, I think I can remember the rest of the number, so 833.333. So we're way out there with some 8s and such. So you know what we're going to do? Just remember it's 8-3 and then a whole bunch of 3s. So we can come over here and let's see, this is this where our kind of
sound schooling.
Okay, so that's our kind of rough cut there. Good, good. And then we're going to pan this. Let's go over here. I want to solo this, and we are going to apply echo. And we were talking about a whole bunch of 8-3, right? So delay time in seconds. Let's go 0.83, okay? But we need to be on our zone. There we go. Let's go 0.83. Where was that? We were on echo. 0.83. There we go. 0.83, like we found through our math. And
sound schooling, folks in all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sense.
Okay, I like that. Let's see what would happen. Let's see. So we have. Let's see. Let's go 0. Okay, let's check this out.
Sound schooling, folks in all.
I like this one better. Okay, so we could also cut this in half. Okay, so let me show you another cool math thing. Divided by 2, and we got crazy. Okay, so 416. For people who really know me, you know you're tripping out right now because this is kind of a trippy number. Okay, relative to you know, my birthday and stuff. So anyways, so here we go. Let's go and do this. Wow, that's a trip. 416.6. So we want to go, we can come in here and we go 416, and remember we changed the decimal place, so that's a trip. So let's go ahead and give this a play.
Sound schooling, folks in all the nations.
There we go.
Musescore and Audacity combine to make sense.
Okay, so once you have your 60,000 divided by your BPM, which remember our BPM was 72, then once you have that figure, you know, you can start doing some math. So this was where we started, 60,000 divided by 72. This is for our precise echo, you know what I mean? Because we don't want unprecise. We got nice rhythms going here. We just want to bounce that rhythm around. 60,000 divided by 72 gave us this number, and then we cut this in half to see how we can get some different divisions. Guess what? As long as you're working with some sort of divisible by 2 type thing, you could take this and you could cut it again. You could cut it again, and and you'll end up with things that are even but fall in different spots, so to say. So I like this. This is good. Let's drop this like this. Okay, cool. All right, so I can see we're gonna need a little fade out. So we're gonna come over here. Get ready. This is crazy.
Sound school and focusing on the
Let's get a solo on both of these. Let me back this off the volume, and let me just the whole thing, about to 90. Okay, so come out here.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, cool. And we could have extended this out, but for this, that's cool. I like how it pulls out the effect. Anyways, let's go fade out. In fact, we want this to be just gone by the time we're in there. So repeat, fade out. There we go. So now I want some panning, some surprises there. Panning. So this will be a little bit left, and this will be a little bit right. Okay. Come over here and drop this.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, cool. We are so almost there, and man, check this out from where we started. Think about that. I want to come in here. Too much bass in here. Okay, so equalization, and actually, yes, let's use this. Let's use this. We're gonna do bass cut preview. And we're way out there, but you know what? I'm going to risk it. I think I know where we're at with this, so let's come out here.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
That's where I originally wanted it. Great. Okay, cool. So let's come out here, hear them both together.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, cool. In fact, I want this one here. Let's come out here. Just like barely over here in this ear, and jump this down here a bit. There we go. Let's hear it with everything.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, so check it out.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, cool. I like what I'm hearing. So let's check this whole thing out. Then we're going to consider where we started. Let's take a look at the whole thing fit vertically, baby. Full on studio thing. Control S, you know we need that about right now. So let's go from the top. How old school did we take this?
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
Okay, so pretty nice, folks. Just a quick reminder, both of these programs are absolutely awesome. They both do exactly what they're supposed to. So that's why I use the word challenge at the very beginning, because none of these are lacking, you know what I mean? So, but man, when you put them together, wow, you have quite the powerhouse. And I love you are taking like the oldest of the old school. Look at this. We just used like a violin symbol from back in the Paganini era, you know what I mean? So absolutely awesome. And we're using old school nomenclature all across this whole thing. We started with this, which sounded nice and clean, very cool, Remember that, and now we are here.
Sound school and focusing all the nations. Musescore and Audacity combine to make sensations. Unlimited.
see you on the next one.